Okay, hi. So now we're going to read the seventh Tuner Tale story, and this one is called Tuner's Friend. School was hard for Tuner. She never knew when to talk and when to be quiet. Tuner didn't really realize that she was supposed to be looking at the teacher. Every time the teacher stopped talking, Tuner seized her chance to talk to the boys next to her. But then she was called a chatterbox and often sent to sit in the boring hallway. Sometimes they would have art or music class, and that was where Tuner felt most comfortable. In music class, they were learning to sing a song with two parts to it. Tuner loved the harmony, but it made her angry when the other kids couldn't hold their tunes. When they were learning to read music with the xylophones, Tuner found she could already do it. She used to sit on Dad's lap when he practiced his saxophone, and the music he made followed the notes written on the music sheet, just like the notes on the xylophone charts. Art class was better, because there she could draw like the artist who lived next door to her. Tuner didn't need to talk when she could draw, but of course the other kids would only talk and make crashing noises as they fell off their chairs and dropped all their pencils. One time, her friend Loulou asked her, "If you had to choose, would you go deaf or blind?" And Tuner couldn't choose. If she went deaf, she wouldn't hear music. If she went blind, how could she draw? She didn't know which thing to lose, so she didn't say anything. Tuner sometimes chose not to talk. It was a game to see if people would notice. They didn't, but Tuner wasn't sure that she had been silent long enough, and the experiment would begin again. The game started because Mom was so angry with her one time when she had talked about Dad in front of her boyfriend. Mom said, "Don't you ever think before you speak?" Tuner realized she did not think first because her thoughts came in words. She opened her mouth and was as surprised to find out what was on her mind as anybody listening. By choosing not to talk, Tuner was learning to see and listen in her own mind. She noticed that everybody liked to talk as much as they could. Tuner began to think inside her mind like her own little stream of background music. On Thursdays, Tuner went to choir rehearsal with her friend Loulou. This choir was wonderful, and they sang songs with 2- and 3-part harmonies. The children's choir was so good that they sometimes sang with the Montreal Symphony Orchestra and the St. Lawrence Choir, with adults. When Tuner sang on stage with all the sound rising around her, she felt like she was floating. She couldn't tell if she was singing or flying. Sometimes it would happen in regular rehearsals too, when everyone had really learned their parts and the sound would echo down the school's hallways. After rehearsal, Tuner and her friend would walk home in the cold twilight together. Most Thursdays, Tuner would end up sleeping over at her friend's house. Loulou lived with her dad and stepmom. He was a professor and she was an artist. Loulou's mom lived in Ottawa with her stepdad. Loulou's stepmom, the artist, ate strange food. She didn't eat any meat, and she did eat things like bulgur wheat and sprouts. Loulou's dad cooked for himself and the girls, which was different from Tuner's dad, who didn't cook at all. When Tuner visited Dad, he would take her to the burger joint. Tuner liked Loulou's dad because he had red hair like her dad, but he was very quiet. When it was time to go to bed, Loulou's dad always made sure that Tuner brushed her teeth and then made up a trundle bed with a real mattress for her. Loulou liked to listen to cassettes to fall asleep. She wasn't allowed to listen to rock and roll music, but she had many books on tape, and Tuner would cuddle up with Loulou on her bed and listen too. Loulou also liked to touch her private parts, and Tuner would lie still and pretend to be asleep already. Sometimes Loulou would lie on top of Tuner and wiggle, and Tuner would wait until she was ready to sleep and then get onto the other mattress. Loulou never talked about this, and Tuner was glad this was another thing to be quiet about. The best part was breakfast. Loulou's dad was German and believed chocolate was good for you. They had chocolate spread on toast in the morning. When it was Tuner's turn to spread her toast, she scooped up as much as she could lift on the knife and laid down a thick layer of smooth, buttery chocolate. Loulou made a noise with her nose, a kind of snort. Ugh, don't take so much, it's greedy. But it was already on the toast, and Tuner couldn't scrape off some without getting crumbs in it. Shame flooded her cheeks, and she wondered if she would be invited to stay again. And that is the end of the 7th Tuner Tales about Tuner's friend. Hope you enjoyed it.